Chapter 16, The Betrayal. The atmosphere in the refuge was tense, the air thick with the weight of unspoken suspicions. Lyra, Zara, and Thorn stood in the dimly lit command room, their gazes fixed on the terminal that had just revealed the unthinkable. Someone within their ranks had been relaying information to the aliens. General Maddox, his face a mask of cold fury, paced back and forth, his mind racing through the possibilities. They had always known the risks, the possibility of betrayal, but to have it confirmed was a blow none of them had expected. "We need to act quickly," Maddox said, his voice low and deadly serious. "Whoever this is, they've been compromised. We have to find them before they do any more damage." Thorn was already at the terminal, his fingers flying over the keys as he worked to trace the signal back to its source. Lyra watched him, her heart pounding in her chest. The idea that one of their own could be working against them was almost too much to bear. "There's a hidden communication device," Thorn said, his voice tight with concentration. "It's been embedded deep in our network, but I think I've found the origin point." Zara leaned in, his eyes narrowing as he studied the screen. "Where?" Thorn pointed to a section of the refuge's map that had been highlighted on the display. "It's coming from the officers' quarters. Specifically, from one of the high-ranking officers in charge of our operations." Maddox's expression darkened. "Who?" Thorn hesitated for a moment, as if unwilling to speak the name aloud. Finally, he said it, "Commander Renard." A cold silence fell over the room. Commander Renard was one of their most trusted leaders, a man who had been with the resistance since the beginning. The idea that he could be the traitor was almost unthinkable. "We need to confront him," Zara said, his voice filled with barely contained anger. "If he's been compromised, we need to know why, and how far this betrayal goes." Maddox nodded, his jaw tight. "Agreed. But we need to handle this carefully. If he realizes we're onto him, he might try to flee or sabotage us further." They moved quickly, gathering a small team to accompany them to Renard's quarters. The corridors of the refuge were eerily quiet as they made their way through the base, the weight of what they were about to do hanging heavily over them. When they reached Renard's quarters, Maddox signaled for the others to stay back. He approached the door, his hand resting on the grip of his weapon. With a deep breath, he knocked. The door slid open to reveal Commander Renard, his face a mask of calm that belied the turmoil beneath. "General, what can I do for you?" Maddox's eyes were cold as he stepped inside. "We need to talk, Commander." Renard's eyes flicked to the others standing just outside the door, his expression tightening ever so slightly. "Of course. What's this about?" Maddox wasted no time. "We've detected a communications signal originating from your quarters. A signal that's been transmitting our plans to the aliens." For a moment, Renard's calm demeanor faltered, a flicker of fear flashing across his face. But he quickly regained control, his expression hardening. "There must be some mistake." "I would never, we've traced the signal," Thorn interjected, stepping into the room. "It's coming from your terminal." "There's no mistake." Renard's shoulders slumped, and he let out a heavy sigh, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. "I had no choice," he said quietly. "They have my family. My wife, my children, they threatened to kill them if I didn't cooperate." Zara's fists clenched at his sides, his anger barely contained. "So you betrayed us? Sold us out to save your own skin?" Renard's eyes were filled with pain as he looked at Zara. "I did what I had to do to keep them alive. But I never wanted to betray you. I tried to give them as little as possible, just enough to keep my family safe." Maddox's expression was unreadable as he studied Renard. "You've put us all in danger, Renard. Everything we've worked for, everything we've fought for, it could all be undone because of your actions." Renard's voice broke as he spoke, the guilt and fear overwhelming him. I know. And I'm sorry. But if there's a way to fix this, to make it right, I'll do whatever it takes. Thorn exchanged a look with Maddox before speaking. There might be a way. We can use the device to feed them false information, set up a trap. But it's risky. We'd be relying on you to play your part convincingly. Renard hesitated, the fear for his family still warring with his sense of duty. But in the end, he nodded. I'll do it. Whatever you need. Zara's voice was cold as he spoke, the betrayal still fresh and raw. If you even think about crossing us again. I won't, Renard interrupted, his voice firm. I swear it. Lyra, who had been silent up until now, finally spoke. We don't have time for second chances. If this goes wrong, we could all die. And so could your family. Renard nodded, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. I understand. I'll do whatever it takes to earn back your trust. Maddox stepped forward, placing a hand on Renard's shoulder. You've got one shot at this, Renard. Don't make us regret it. With that, they left Renard to prepare for the task ahead, the tension in the room still thick with the implications of what had just happened. As they regrouped in the command room, the gravity of the situation settled over them. We need to move quickly, Maddox said, his voice filled with urgency. If we're going to pull this off, we need to be ready to strike as soon as they take the bait. Thorn nodded, already working to set up the false transmissions. Zara remained silent, his mind still reeling from the revelation. Lyra could see the conflict in his eyes, the struggle between his loyalty to the resistance and his anger towards Renard. But there was no time to dwell on it. The trap was set, and now they had to wait. The fate of the resistance, and possibly humanity, rested on Renard's shoulders. As the hours ticked by, the tension only grew. Every minute felt like an eternity as they watched the screen, waiting for the aliens to take the bait. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest, the weight of the moment pressing down on her like a physical force. Finally, Thorn spoke. They're biting. The signal's been intercepted. Maddox's eyes narrowed. It's time. Everyone, to your positions. This is our chance to turn the tide. As they moved into action, Lyra couldn't help but feel a lingering sense of unease. Renard had agreed to help, but could they really trust him? Or was this just another layer in the web of betrayal that had ensnared them all? Only time would tell. And as the battle for humanity's survival continued, Lyra knew that the stakes had never been higher.